Hello and welcome to the Crypto Sky podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Today we've got another awesome episode. I recently conducted an interview with Crypto Don Alt, and for those of you who are not familiar with him, he is a crypto trader and investor located in Germany. He's a really cool dude, and I really enjoyed interviewing him. We talked about everything from technical analysis and market cycles to what he looks for when he is potentially buying an altcoin and why he is long-term bullish on Bitcoin. If you would like to follow him on Twitter, his handle is at CryptoDonAlt. I'll make sure to leave a link to his Twitter in the show notes below. He's also releasing a website very soon loaded with a bunch of top-notch quality, and I'll make sure to share that with you when it is released. If you would like to support the podcast, there are a couple of things you can do. First of all, you can share it with your friends through social media, and you can also subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. I want to thank you guys again for listening. If there's anything I can help you with or you have a question, shoot me a DM at the Crypto Sky on Twitter, and I'll make sure to get back to you. I hope you enjoy the episode. Here it is. Hello, Crypto Don. I want to thank you for joining the Crypto Sky podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. All right, so I kind of want to get into these questions. Kind of give us a background about how you got into crypto.
Okay, yeah. Back in the day when in general, when Bitcoin was, I think it was worth around $1 or $2. My brother introduced me to it and told me that, yeah, he thought it was a great idea and he wanted to buy some. And so we agreed that we wanted to each put $50 in it. But we needed a credit card to do so, and our mother didn't allow us to use hers. So we didn't buy back then, and just watched the price skyrocket pretty much.
Okay, so how old were you when that happened?
It was, I think, in 2011. No, wait. Yeah, I think it was 11. So I was 7 years ago. It was 16, maybe 15. I don't quite know.
Okay.
But yeah, around that age.
Okay, so when did you actually first buy Bitcoin or your first crypto?
My first crypto that I bought was actually Dogecoin. So I bought Bitcoin in, I think it was 2015 or 2016, and went straight into Dogecoin just to test the waters pretty much, because I saw it on Reddit with the tip bot they had back in the day, and just thought it was a great idea. And then it just tanked. I think it went down 70% or something, and then I never touched it again. And this 2017, it just went insanely high, and I sold it pretty much at the top, and then at that moment I was hooked.
Okay, definitely. So kind of describe the process you went through learning how to trade. Do you have a trading background, or is that something you taught yourself?
So I was watching general markets ever since I started with Bitcoin. The first market I watched regularly was Bitcoin, but that got me interested in forex trading and other markets, and so I started in forex, and just traded a lot of demo accounts. So not with real money, but with fake money, pretty much. Did that for, I think it was half a year, I think. And then spent some real money, and that was pretty much, at that point I was already looking at the crypto markets, but I didn't really feel comfortable yet. I liked the forex markets more. And then the altcoin boom happened in in the middle of last year, and at that point I started trading crypto.
Okay, and I understand you do some margin trading. So, to someone who is maybe new or doesn't know what that is, kind of explain what margin trading is.
So margin trading is where you don't really have all the money that you're trading with. So you get, for example, if you use BitMEX or Bitfinex offers it too, you can trade with more money than you actually have, and increase how much you can win, but also increase how much you can lose.
Okay, so to someone who maybe wants to start margin trading, what would be a couple tips you would give them?
In general, I would advise not to do it if you're not really good at trading
Okay,
already,
and why is that?
because most people lose all their money.
Okay.
Like I've several people on my Twitter have approached me and asked for my BitMEX referral link, and I think I've given it out to 6 or 7 and told them to be careful. And yeah, I think 5 of them already quit, lost everything. So I would advise, like, if you haven't paper traded a lot, have like made consistent gains, just don't do it.
Okay. So I understand also to me, you seem very good to technical analysis. I like to follow your tweets and look at your charts. So kind of tell us how you learned technical analysis and kind of how that process has went.
So I started with the forex markets, followed some people there, and learned pretty much all the horizontal stuff that I do, like on my Bitcoin charts. I never got into touch with any indicators, with any diagonal, like some diagonals, but I really didn't use them much. And then, yeah, so I was like very surprised when I saw all the analysis I saw on Twitter. Like everyone was using triangles and only diagonals, only indicators. And yeah, so I saw that it worked back in the day, like last year it did work. So I relearned pretty much how to trade just in the crypto style. But closing in on like the end of 2017, I noticed that those stopped working. So the diagonals and all the patterns stopped working because I think the market matured and is way more than, like, it's very similar to the forex markets now.
Okay, so you prefer horizontal support and resistance levels compared to an indicator per se. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
like above anything.
Okay.
Horizontals and yeah, horizontals is pretty much what I base my trades around, and everything else is just adding confluence.
Okay. So what are a couple resources you would suggest to someone who wants to learn more about those?
There isn't really like for that there isn't really much free stuff out there. I think couple of traders I followed back in the day gave away free stuff, but they've all like started wanting money for it now. In general, I would advise for the horizontals. There's several like YouTubers that still give out free content. I could name them if you want to.
Okay, yeah, you can shout a couple out.
Yeah, so IMICT is one of them. He's like, many people in the Twitter sphere would hate me if they knew I said that, but I think a lot of his concepts are like completely bullshit. But his horizontals and how he approaches trading them is a good idea, and he does it really well. So I agree with most of his horizontals. And then Trader Dante is a pretty good trader as well. I think I've seen some of his paid stuff, and it's really good. And then obviously like my stuff and CryptoCred and whoever else on Twitter, but yeah, I haven't really given out any instructional on how I do it, but I'm planning to do so in the future.
Okay, so do you prefer a short-term trade or more of a long-term investment? What's your strategy?
I prefer the longer time frames because the smaller time frames get influenced by small time investors and a lot of people. So you can get faked out by small time signals, but the big time frame signals indicate where the market is really going, and I trust them a lot more. So I prefer trading them, and in general, they give bigger moves with a higher probability of being right. So I prefer those over the small time frames.
Okay, so taking a long-term perspective, kind of explain what a fractal is and how you use that to maybe trade or plan out your investments.
So a fractal is pretty much just past price action, reflecting like being really similar to what you see in the market now. I really like them. I like to play around with them. For example, if you see, okay, half a year ago, or even like the crash now with compared to the crash back in 2013, I think it was. How did the crash proceed? And can you see any similarities there? That's really helpful. I don't trade based on them. I use them as confluence, and I use them to analyze how the market likes to move.
Okay. And looking at your Twitter, are you back reinvested into the crypto markets? I understood you took most of your assets out. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, I started investing back in the middle of 2017, and I always kept a core Bitcoin holding in my portfolio. And I always had in the beginning I started with a much larger investment portfolio than my trading portfolio was, and I kept Bitcoin and Ethereum in there. But on the 20K run, I was really worried. Like I started getting worried at the 10,000 mark. That's where I was like, okay, I'm not quite sure if this is gonna continue forever. Pulled out before we hit it, and then went pretty much all in when we crossed above it and hit 11K. And then yeah, the first crash was pretty much I saw that coming. I was prepared for it and shorted it, but still had my investment portfolio. So I pretty much all my short did was protect me from the drawdown. But then on the second bounce to 17K, I was starting to pull, like I started to pull out my Bitcoin investment holdings because I didn't trust the market. And CryptoCred and I talked about it, and I kept sending him like all the bubble charts and everything, and was like, yeah, I'm not sure if this is gonna hold. And so I pulled most of my holdings out there, and the rest of it at like 14K or something.
Okay. So are you back invested into the markets, or do you still think we're going to see a continued bearish trend?
So my investment portfolio, I regard as I only invest into something that I know that the trend is gonna go up, that my investment isn't gonna lose me any money, and I don't see that with Bitcoin at the moment. I want to see a confirmed trend reversal. I don't mind to buy, like, even if that trend reversal comes in at 10K, for example, if we went straight back up to 10 or 14K even, I wouldn't have any problem buying back where I sold, but I don't want to buy in right now because for me, long-term trend is down, like the daily trend is down, and until that changes, I don't want to invest into crypto.
Okay. So if you're not invested into crypto, do you have any other maybe asset classes, or what else do you invest in?
Currently, I'm going through the whole taxation process. So because I've pulled out a lot of money into fiat, I need to go through taxes and everything. So most of my money is currently tied up because I don't want to I want to make sure that I've paid my taxes and everything before I jump back into investing into anything. But I'm watching some markets right now. I'm watching silver, I'm watching gold, looking for entries. But yeah, in general, there are a lot of markets to trade and or to invest in, and Bitcoin or the entire crypto market isn't really something that appeals to investors, I would say.
Okay. So how much longer, in your opinion, do you think we'll be in this bearish downtrend?
I can't really say how long it's gonna be, but I can say what I'm looking out for to be able to put back my money, my investment money, and that would be a accumulation floor where we move sideways for like several months. And once I see that at a price that I'm comfortable investing into it again, I'm gonna change my mind and go back into crypto because I love it. I love it being invested in it. It's just I generally don't invest into anything that isn't bullish.
Okay, definitely. So you take a very safe approach.
Yes, my trading is a bit different, but investing for sure. Yes.
Okay, so when you're investing, do you prefer larger cap coins, such as Bitcoin and Ethereum, or do you also like to invest into some smaller cap coins with maybe more potential?
My biggest hitters in 2017 have been Walkencoin, Neo. Back in the day, it was called ARN-shares.
Yeah.
So all the small coins have treated me really well, and I'm going to keep buying small coins. But in general, it's I put less money into them just to make sure that I don't, because they can go like to zero nearly instantly. So I always split my portfolio into risk, like how high is the risk of the investment, and those small cap coins never go above 20% of my investment portfolio.
Okay, and to new people, a lot of people see crypto as a chance to get rich quickly. What would you kind of tell them about practicing risk management?
I mean, in general, what I've seen people do is just not care about risk management at all. Um, Everyone is just putting their money into something without thinking, okay, what am I going to do if this goes down 70%? And that's what you should ask yourself every time you invest into something. What is my exit plan? What is my entry plan? In general, what I see, like no one has a plan on why they're investing, what they're looking for. And if you don't have a plan, you can't really say, okay, now I'm going to pull the plug. Because if you think about it, everyone that is invested into Bitcoin that didn't sell at like 10K plus made a huge loss. And if you invest with a system that tells you, okay, if this and this turns, I'm going to get out. For example, if you say, if I get a death cross on the daily, which is two moving averages, the 50 and the 200 moving averages crossing, that's my first signal that I'm going to be worried and that I'm going to look for exits. And if you don't have that, if you don't have any risk management, you're going to just look at it go up and down and up and down and up and down, which is fine if you really believe in it, and if you're never going to sell. But if you're one of the guys that sells at 7K now, yeah, that's just wrong. You have to have a system, and if you don't, it drives you to sell below 10K, or like it drives you to sell at the lowest point, and that's not good.
Okay. And so you touched on, some of the coins that made you profit last year. When you're looking at maybe a smaller cap altcoin, what are some things you look for to invest in?
Honestly, like on the small caps, I look for what is the chance of this getting hyped. I don't really mind about if I think this is gonna be a good idea. I think about, okay, is this gonna get hyped? Is this gonna get promoted by the big guys? Because in the end, that's what drives price up. Yeah, so the fundamentals, it's all good if you like it. It can never be a bad coin, but the most important thing for me is there high potential, and if there is, I research further.
Okay, that's interesting. So you look for a coin like a Ripple or some, coin like that that's maybe has more media attention than really a project you necessarily believe in.
Yes, in general, what I try to do with my altcoin trading is increasing my Bitcoin holdings. That's my goal. I'm not trying to find the next Bitcoin. For me, the next Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and yeah, that's why I look for the waves. I look to ride for the waves. So the hype comes in. I want to be already in the coin, and I want to get out before the hype ends, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, that's interesting. And so you touched on you want to trade to get more Bitcoin. So are you long-term bullish on Bitcoin?
Yes, I've always been like the first time I saw Bitcoin, like the potential behind this was back when it was $1, and I didn't even know that it could go up or could go down. I just thought it was a great idea, and I still think it's a great idea. You just got to be smart about how you invest and how you trade. Even if you think Bitcoin is going to be the next big thing, try to keep the emotions out of it and look at it logically. And yeah, that way you can increase your Bitcoin holdings and make profits later on.
Okay, so you're a fan of Bitcoin. Do you like more currency coins along the lines of Bitcoins, or are you also bullish on platforms like Ethereum and such?
I like Ethereum. I like what they do. Long term, I'm looking like my biggest holding is always going to be Bitcoin. But I like the Neo or Ethereum or ICX. I like those two. Yeah.
Okay, so what would you tell someone who maybe doesn't believe in Bitcoin or maybe is a little worried about investing in it?
You mean someone that doesn't have anything to do with the space?
Yeah.
I would tell them to just check it out, inform themselves, because even who knows, it might happen that Bitcoin just was a fad and just fizzles out at some point. But it never hurts to research a project that has potential, and I think everyone that understands something about how money works, and in general how the internet came to be, knows that it's something you need to keep an eye on. So I would say check it out, research it, and then make up your own mind. I mean, I don't mind if someone doesn't like it. I do mind if someone doesn't like it without having researched it first.
Okay. And to someone who would maybe say there's no leader, what would you kind of respond to that about decentralization? Do you think that's a plus or maybe a negative?
That's a huge plus.
Okay.
If you think about it, if you have a leader, the leader can be targeted for once, or the leader can be corrupt. There are several ways that you can have problems with. I mean, in general, if you think about it, everyone agrees that a democracy is better than a monarchy. So why have it differently for our financial system? It just makes more sense to be decentralized and have no one controlling the network. It just makes more sense to me.
Okay. So kind of give us your daily schedule. How much how many hours a day do you spend researching or trading? Just kind of what does your day look like?
Currently, I've back in the day when I started out trading, I was pretty much trading all day, like 10 to 12 hours, all markets, just testing my strategies and trying to get better. These days, I'm mostly working on either lessons that I'm currently writing on, or talking. Like Twitter takes up a considerable amount of my time currently, but in general, I would say I trade or at least look at charts or learn something about technical analysis for 6 to 8 hours a day at least.
Okay, so do you have a full-time job or is crypto and investing your full-time job?
At the moment, crypto and investing and trading is my full-time job.
Okay. So when you sit down and back when you were trading, you sat down, you were maybe looking for some coins. What would be some things that you would look for that might pop out to you?
In trading or in investing? Because trading, I have my system, and if I see, okay, my system tells me there's a long there, I look for long opportunities, and the other way around. And for investing, it's more of a research thing.
Okay. So what do you look for when you're researching as far as investing?
I'm looking for um, the high potential, like I said earlier, and then I look for how high is the price currently, and how high can I see, like how high do I see it going? Um, and then I look at the charts, look at, okay, at what point in the market cycle is it? Do I have any data that I can use to project what it's going to do in the future? Um, yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I mostly like most of my stuff is based around TA. And then sometimes I find tiny caps that I like that I just invest in.
Okay. So do you spend any of your time or resources mining or staking, or are you solely trading and investing?
I'm solely trading and investing. I would like to start mining at some point, and if Bitcoin continues to go down, and I might buy me a miner because they are gonna be all over the place pretty much. Because once Bitcoin isn't profitable to mine anymore, the miners are gonna go start selling their stuff, and I'm gonna pick some up. Um, but yeah, I'm not doing it.
Okay. So what do you think are some of the barriers people face getting into crypto, and what are some ways that us as community members can help break those barriers down?
I think one of the biggest barriers that you need to be good at using computers or like your mobile phone in the security department. Like if you don't know how to secure your private keys, and if you don't know how to set it all up, you're gonna have a bad time, because everyone wants about the exchanges. We didn't really have any, besides BitGrail, we didn't really have any bad experiences in the last year with exchanges. Um, but yeah, it's just the accessibility and storing what you actually bought is a huge problem. Um, and you need, like, no one is really buying just one coin. Most people buy like five, or just however, like many people buy 10 coins, for example, and then having the wallet on your computer is a big hassle. And it doesn't work in the current market space. I feel like the price movements are too rapid to really hold all coins, for example, for the long term. So you need to hold them on the exchange to be able to access them quickly. And then you have a lot of money on the exchange, and the exchange can get hacked. So yeah, there are a lot of problems, in my opinion, with storing all coins,
Okay.
or in
And
general all coins.
okay, so you mentioned exchanges being hacked and such, are you a fan of decentralized exchanges? And what are your thoughts on those?
Um, I'm. I don't think they're ready yet. I don't think there's a market for it yet. Um, there are a lot of decentralized exchanges are really good in some aspects by taking out the middleman. But yeah, we have some decentralized exchanges and like Ether Delta and IDEX or whatever it's called, and no one is using them because they are not as easy to use as normal exchanges. They are not liquid enough. So for traders, it's a nightmare to sell or buy coins without driving price up or down. And in general, there are so many projects out there that try to do it. Um, and I don't think there's the market for all the products that try to do it. So, for example, if Binance gets to be the market leader, I think most of the other ones are going to die out. And yeah.
Okay. Also, are you a fan of ICOs and have you invested in any, or do you like to stay away from those?
I have invested in some back in the day, and I think I've done like 3 or 4 ICOs yet. Um, BQX was one of them, and DNT, and they both went like 20 or 30 times their value. Um, but I feel like there's so many scams around, and in general, the market is most of the coins you don't get them for like a month or something, and I don't trust I don't trust the market to stay the same for a month or two. So, for example, the people that have invested into ICOs in February, they're not going to make a lot of money while having a huge risk of being scammed, because that's what you're dealing with by investing into ICOs. There are a lot of scams around, a lot of data leaks, and I rather stay out at the moment.
Okay. So, what do you think about regulations? Do you think that's good for the space? Do you think it's needed, or do you think it's harmful?
I think it's good for the space and needed, but it's not gonna do the price any favors in the short term. Long term, I think it's gonna increase the amount of exposure crypto has, because currently it's really like the Wild West. Everyone is that there are so many people scamming, so many weird stuff going on, spoofing and everything that would be fixed by regulations. But regulations also bring problems. So yeah, I think it's a good thing, but yeah, it has both positives and negatives.
Okay. And so, for those who don't know, Don is actually from Germany, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what is crypto? What is the feeling like in Germany on crypto? Is it positive or more negative?
Um, it depends on who you ask. I've had a lengthy talk with a friend of the family that is older that told me, yeah, it's all just a scam, stay away. And he detests the thought of making money or losing money on the whole thing. And then if I talk with my parents, um, they're all in favor. They think it's a good idea, but they don't really understand it. If I talk with my brothers, um, they love it. And if I talk to politicians, there's just nothing really. Like Germany is so far behind everything. Like Germany is really slow to adapt to changes. We still have like shitty internet. We haven't adapted to new stuff, and I don't think there's gonna come like there's going to be acceptance by the state anytime soon.
Okay, that's interesting. It's something, I'm from the United States, and a lot of people are talking about our government and certain tax laws are coming up with crypto. So that's not happening in Germany?
tax-wise, I think they are working on it, but it's going to take some time, and it's a nightmare at the moment. It's really, really bad. You pay a lot of taxes. No one really knows how, and like it's just finding someone that knows how to file the taxes properly and without paying them a lot is a nightmare.
Okay. Have you ever purchased anything with crypto?
Um, Actually, no, I haven't.
Okay.
Never.
Interesting. So, what are a couple of things you enjoy outside of crypto? What are some of your hobbies or passions?
I like doing every extreme sport out there, pretty much.
What are some of those sports you like?
Um, I mean, it depends on how you define extreme sports, but I like snowboarding, surfing, wakeboarding, kiting, kite surfing, like everything pretty much. Uh, Everything that I can do, climbing, bouldering, everything.
That's really cool. I used to snowboard some, so I'm a fan of that too. So, kind of how do you manage to balance your lifestyle between trading and managing that stress and also enjoying yourself?
Currently, it's really hard because I work on several projects outside of trading too. So I trade, I try to educate people on Twitter and personally too, and then I work on lessons that I'm trying to roll out in the future. At the moment, I don't really have time to do anything besides being involved in the entire crypto thing. Um, so it's really hard, and I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to get back to doing sports every second day, but it's been hard.
Okay. So, where do you see the overall crypto community being in 5 to 10 years?
Oh, that's a hard question. Um, I hope, like I would say, the crypto community has gotten worse over the higher the price goes, the community has gotten worse. Back when I started, when Bitcoin was at 3K or something, everyone was looking at the price, but they were trying to improve what crypto was doing, and they were fans of crypto. And what I've seen in the last few months, and the reason I was so bearish going to 20K and then the next 17K was that I saw a lot of people that didn't really have any idea about crypto, what it's doing, what it's for. They just went in for the money. And I hope that in 5 to 10 years that changes and it goes back to the way it was in the past, that everyone that talks about it knows what it's all about, knows about the founders, or what the goal of Bitcoin originally was. That's what I would like to see.
Okay. And kind of touch on where you would like to be in 5 to 10 years. Do you still want to be trading and investing or maybe snowboarding? What's your ideal future like?
I would still like to trade. I love trading. It's a big passion of mine. Um, but I love educating as much, if not more. So I would like to couple trading with educating on the side, and then just have more time to do snowboarding and whatever too. So I would take a position trader. I would like to be a position trader, so just hold pretty much for the long term and just sell when big swings happen and teach on the side.
Okay, that sounds cool. That's all the questions I have. If you'd like to throw in kind of some closing thoughts and where people can find you at, go ahead.
You can find me on Twitter. For now, I'm currently building my own website, so that's going to be a thing as well in the future. But until then, just on Twitter. I'm open to all direct messages. I answer most of them, if not all. And yeah, I love being a part of the community, and thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. I really enjoyed this. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
That's all for the interview. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Please remember to share the podcast with your friends and leave a review and subscribe if you're listening on iTunes. I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks again for listening.